way superhero movies are performing at the box office right now, I'd suggest changing the game plan and focusing on the villains instead. Just look at the TV region. I'm already on volume 3 of the top 25 most badass supervillain scenes in the movies. Barry Allen is a pretty nice guy, but after seeing 2023's The Flash, I do not recommend meeting his evil alter ego, and no, by that I don't mean Ezra Miller. The Dark Flash scene was actually one of the very few moments where we got to see some decent CGI, and he looked absolutely terrifying. The fight in itself was pretty intense, but dear God, how bad do you have to mess it up for your entire appearance to change like that? It's like bro went through all the 14 million scenarios that Doctor Strange was talking about in Infinity War and chose to be the worst possible one. Honestly speaking, this movie could have done so much better if they just used Dark Flash as a central villain instead of Zod. Like, if you wanted to revive someone who went with a snap, then give us back Gwen Stacy. I'm sure Andrew Garfield would also like that, considering he used to date Emma Stone in real life.
Who are you? I'm Miles Morales. But you can call me the Prowler.
Well, it looks like we're kicking things off with superheroes meeting their evil clones, right? In the case of Miles Morales becoming the Prowler, I was really impressed with all the attention to detail. I mean, the dude had a different accent because he only had his mom around while growing up. Sony really puts in the work when it comes to giving us Spidey flicks, don't they? Of course, seeing Spider-Man as an evil supervillain was a completely surreal feeling. It kind of reminded me of an old saying: kids who've never seen peace and kids who've never seen war have completely different values. The look on the Prowler's eyes was so cold and lifeless that you could almost feel the dread and sorrow he had to grow around. I almost panicked when he hit that punching bag too. The director should have actually made the movie end at that point.
Please, trust me. I know you don't want to be the Prowler.
I'm not.
No! Nebula! Retrieve the orb.
Man, I really miss villains like Ronan. He didn't waste time with sloppy jokes and just focused on being evil. Also, I don't think people understand just how strong he is. Bro made Drax like a stick figure. The way James Gunn leads us to believe that Drax is pretty strong and durable also played a hand in making Ronan look extra badass. It's kind of like the Thanos fight with Hulk. We were all made to think that Drax was kinda invincible, so when he got thrashed by Ronan, it gave us a pretty good indicator of his power levels. Like, that fight was so one-sided, I literally felt bad for Dave Bautista. He used to be a WWE wrestler, so his ego took a beating as well. It would have been pretty interesting to see Ronan face off against the likes of Thor or Captain Marvel. I'd definitely pay to watch that in the cinemas.
Ronan the Accuser! You are the one who transmitted the message? You killed my wife. You killed my daughter! I don't recall killing your family.
Step back, please, Jen. Step back, please.
Hey, come here. Come here, come here. It's okay. You can go, but just don't tell anyone, all right?
Can I just say that Andy Serkis is a highly underrated actor. He's played so many iconic roles, not just in films like Planet of the Apes and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but also as a voice and CGI actor. Seeing him as Ulysses Klaue definitely put him into the limelight, and rightly so. Just look at how he shows up in the gallery invasion scene. Not only is his appearance sudden and unnerving, Klaue also had the time to crack a joke in the middle of his crimes. More than anything else, it's the acting that sells the character's importance, and I was actually hoping for him to be more of a long-term investment. It was a total shame to see him in only a couple of MCU flicks, but hey, something's better than nothing, right?
Bro, why you ain't just shoot him right here?
Because it's better to leave the crime scene more spread out.
Makes us look like amateurs.
I hope you'll repay me with a gift of iron soldiers.
Come
Amara Tofa Sere Yehe.
If one betrayal isn't good enough for you, then don't worry, Obadiah's got you covered. Bro really turned back on his business partner and crime partner at the same time. To be honest, I did suspect that he was working with Raza, but to see him get rid of his entire gang without even blinking an eye was a whole other level of badass. Obviously, that's not to say I admire such a man, but you can't deny the fact he's nothing short of an evil mastermind. Not only is he a strategic thinker, he also knows how to get you right when your guard is down. I almost felt bad for Raza, but then I remembered he's a terrorist. At first, I was a little hesitant to see Jeff Bridges playing the bad guy because I know him as the dude from The Big Lebowski. However, after watching Iron Man in 2008, I don't think any other actor would have been able to play that role to the T.
Rid of the armor and the rest of it. All right, let's finish up here.
Mortal Kombat is easily one of the most popular games in the world. Most of us have grown up playing the game with a living passion, so when we saw the first few movies from decades ago, we were all pretty disappointed. The 2021 reboot though wasn't bad, and I loved Sub-Zero more than any of the other characters. Just look how he enters here. He literally announces his arrival with an ice shower. And if that's not good enough for you, he also fights Jax and dominates him with ease. That finisher move was really something else. Some might even call it a cold-blooded end. Get it? On a more serious note though, it was great to see Sub-Zero fight with so much rage. It's like he's always angry. I'm really hoping for the franchise to grow further with the planned sequel because video game movies are slowly starting to pick up, you know?
I'm just saying, maybe your wife would like to know where you really get your money from.
You know what? What? You're right. They weren't. I can't afford that.
Michael Keaton might have been an iconic Batman, but he's pretty good at playing villains too. Vulture's already got multiple entries on this list, and he definitely deserves more praise from MCU fans. Now, he may have Giga Chad vibes, but the scene in question here is pretty funny if you ask me. Bro literally kills his own goon by accident and then brushes it off as if he just stepped on an insect. It's not like the shocker was a valuable part of the plot, but he was done dirty here. I kinda like the way he disintegrated too. CGI like this was the reason why everyone was looking up to Marvel as the leader in visual effects during this era. You know, if they directed the scene in a way that made it look more ominous, I think I would have placed this one a little bit higher.
I thought this was the anti-gravity gun.
What? No, that's that one.
Can I go, man? What's going on, man? This is crazy.
Blah, 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 blah. All of that chit-chat's gonna get you hurt.
Oh, my God.
Imagine playing a role for all of 8 minutes and people already start calling you the worst Joker of all time. Now, I'm not a hater or anything, so I want to point out the one scene where Jared Leto does some kind of justice to the character. It's when he interrogates Griggs for info on Harley Quinn, and I also want to add that the editing is a little sloppy here. You can tell that there was a lot of dialogue between certain lines that got cut, so maybe this was supposed to be a much longer sequence. We'll never know till we get the director's cut of this film, but even then, the Joker does look quite threatening here. My favourite part was when he lost his mind and said, "It's Morbin tie." Alright, okay, so that was just a joke. It didn't happen. Please don't go around looking for that line in the scene, okay? Also, come to think of it, shouldn't the Joker say, "It's joking time," whenever he says something funny?
Bring the car around. We're going for a drive.
Just talking about a director's cut, so it makes sense to include Zack Snyder's Justice League right after Suicide Squad. It's a shame that we won't get to see more of this universe because Darkseid is such a brutal character and I really liked his design in the film. The battle against the gods was a sequence of epic proportions and felt immensely grand. The fact that Darkseid was able to resist so many gods and take down some of them as well stands as testament to the fact that he is the most overpowered villain in the DCEU. Of course, Ares had to emerge the victor with a little help from Zeus, but that's only because he was being fueled fueled by the rage of war. Also, don't forget the fact that Darkseid isn't in his prime here. Yeah, that's how strong he really is. You gotta love Wanda and Vision, right? They're the best couple in the whole MCU, but I'm not here to focus on romantic moments. I'm gonna shower praises on the villains. Corvus Glaive didn't really have much time to shine on his own, but he did make a rather surprising entrance when he straight up stabbed Vision through his android chest. It's bad enough to interrupt a couple in the middle of their love chats, but Corvus went a step further and even tried to kill Vision. The night setting really helped enhance the moment because I don't think it would have been as effective during the day, but more importantly, we also got to see what Thanos' assistants are capable of. I do wonder if Corvus and Proxima Midnight are also a couple. Now that would have made that scene even more interesting.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker.
You know what's really badass? Quitting your job by announcing it in your boss's face. The Joker was feeling the same energy when he went to say goodbye to Carl Grimson, but the way he did it was a bit too extreme. Well, at least we finally got to see a movie where the guns run out of ammo after 6 rounds. Now this is something only 90s kids would know, but this was so much scarier on VHS when you couldn't really see Jack's face in the shadows before he stepped into the light. Once again, the reason this scene works so well is because of Jack Nicholson's performance. Each and every one of his lines can be quoted from this movie, and that's what makes him a legend. He was actually my #1 Joker for a very long time until a certain Heath Ledger came along.
What are you laughing at?
Painful, aren't they? They were originally designed for microsurgery. And any one of them could end your friend's life in an instant.
Ebony Maw is one of those extremely creepy villains you'd never want to face, not because of their powers, but because of their appearance. Sure, Iron Man called him Squidward, but the man is pretty strong if you ask me. After all, he was able to overpower Doctor Strange and torture him with needles right after. Kind of ironic, isn't it? Steven started out as a surgeon who was perfect in his job, and now he's getting harmed by the very same things he used to save lives. It also goes on to show how merciless Maw is because he doesn't care how he gets the Mind Stone. He might sound like a bit of a suck-up to Thanos, but hey, loyalty is a pretty badass trait. However, shouldn't Doctor Strange be cool with this? I mean, he did die a million times when he was trying to fight Dormammu.
You avoid removing a dead man's spell. Troublesome.
You'll only wish you were dead.
Let's be honest here, this scene would have been way more brutal if it wasn't held back by a PG-13 rating. Carnage is known for doing messed up stuff, so I can only imagine what it would have been like if the effects team had the license to go all out over here. Even then, the prison breakout scene is one of the best moments from a movie that totally failed to impress anyone. I'll give credit though to whoever choreographed Carnage's movements, because that's exactly how I see him moving in real life. It's a pretty standard scene with the crazy symbiote being his usual murderous self, but it's the build-up that really sells the savagery on display. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but Carnage's birth during the lethal injection is symbolic. He's literally created from venom.
If you kill me, Martha dies. And if you fly away, Martha also dies. But if you kill the bat, Martha lives.
If you can have the Man of Steel at your mercy, you're easily an S-tier villain. That's what Lex Luthor achieves when he makes Superman cry for his mommy during their little talk. I might not be a fan of Jesse Eisenberg playing the character, but he did do one thing right, and that was matching Luthor's knack for identifying weaknesses in his enemies. There's no way a measly human like him can even fight a normal guy, let alone freaking Superman. Even then, it's Lex Luthor who has Superman completely defeated after telling him about Martha. Oh, here's a fun fact. When Lex says, "When you came here, you had an hour," there's roughly 1 hour left in the movie. My estimate might not be too accurate, so don't come at me in the comments for this, okay?
When you came here, you had an hour. Now it's less.
You're pathetically predictable. Like a moth to the flame.
We're in top 10 territory now, so you know the stakes are high. When a movie's over 21 years old and still finds itself being spoken about fans all over the world, you know that you've got a classic. People might credit the MCU for pushing the superhero genre to its greatest heights, but it was 2002 Spider-Man that really got the hype train started. It wasn't just Peter Parker who got the crowd though, we also had the Green Goblin, who's gone on to become one of the most iconic villains in the modern era. I mean, how can you not love this guy? Just look at how he bamboozles Spidey here. And on top of that, those razor blades were pretty neat tricks, and I love the choreography that followed. Norman Osborn may not be spoken about as much as Thanos, but rest assured, he has a much better legacy to boast.
What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
Wrong answer!
You're so weak.
Megatron might not have had a lot of enjoyable moments in the Transformers franchise, but the fact that he was able to kill Optimus Prime was as huge a flex as anyone could have ever hoped for. Sure, he had a lot of assistance and Optimus was taking on multiple Decepticons at the same time, but it is what it is. He is a villain after all, he doesn't care about what's fair, he just wants to have it his way. The finisher move was pretty extreme. I mean, he blew a hole in his chest with a fusion cannon. Imagine being backstabbed and then being shot through the chest with that cannon. It was a humiliating death for Optimus, which makes it all the more badass for Megatron. The Winter Soldier is the literal definition of a gaming character when you fight him as a final boss versus when you get him as a playable character. Luckily for this entry, we're looking at the final boss version because bro made the Avengers look like a bunch of Girl Scouts. Well, except for Black Panther, I suppose. Captain America, Black Widow, and even Iron Man were all beaten down with ease. Although, I have to confess that Tony didn't have his suit on him. Even then, it goes on to show just how lethal Bucky can be if you know how to use him well. Well, that didn't sound right at all.
Shall honor our agreement, Kree, if you bring me the order. But return to me again empty-handed, and I will bathe the Stallways in your blood.
Scenes like these make you realize how serious Marvel really was during their peak era. Thanos was always going to be the big baddie that everyone would have to defeat, but even in these little cameos, they made sure to reinforce the fact that he was too overpowered to be taken lightly. I already spoke about how powerful Ronan was earlier, and even he had to back down and accept defeat because he knew there was no way he was going to take on the Mad Titan. It's a clear show of superiority, and that little smirk on Thanos showed that he enjoyed it as well.
I only ask that you take this matter seriously.
The only matter I do not take seriously, boy, is you.
You don't understand how the world works.
Yeah, but I understand that selling weapons to criminals is wrong.
How do you think your buddy Stark paid for that tower? Or any of his little toys?
As much as I like Spider-Man, I have to admit that the one who stole the show in Homecoming was Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, aka Batman. Oh, sorry, wrong franchise. The face-off between him and Peter Parker wasn't just about a couple of badass characters trading blows, it was also about the wit on display, primarily from the Vulture. I mean, the way he responded to Spidey's statement about selling weapons to criminals was one of the best comebacks I've ever seen. Villain or not, Vulture does make a valid point. His gripe with Tony Stark for putting him out of business and his anger over the fact that he was brushed aside by the authorities are very much justified, you know? You could really understand where the Vulture was coming from in this movie. Of course, a lot of that credit goes to a masterclass in acting given by Michael Keaton.
I'm sorry, Peter.
What are you talking about? That thing hasn't even touched me yet!
True. Then again, wasn't really trying to.
If you think you can stop what's coming, what have you done?
The Batman remains my favourite superhero film from 2022, and that says a lot about a movie where Robert Pattinson has to wear shady eyeliner. However, my focus isn't on the Caped Crusader this time, it's on the Riddler. Honestly speaking, I'm glad this movie was a box office success because it proved that you don't need a Joker to make a good Batman movie. The interrogation scene in particular stood out as a defining moment between the hero and the villain. Rather than it being a simple back and forth, it's more like a mirror to Bruce realising what his actions have inspired. Despite the differences between the Riddler here and his comic book counterpart, it's not really him unless he's shown to have a fragile ego while being prone to emotional breakdowns anytime he's proven wrong. Paul Dano was such a perfect casting choice, yeah? He captures almost every angle of the character from his theatrics, intelligence, and pure arrogance, whilst giving him a darker edge that's perfect for a more modern Riddler.
We were gonna be safe here! We could watch the whole thing together!
Watch what?
Everything!
I know what you're trying to do. And it won't work. They're gone.
Get rid of the body.
Spider-Man's our trusted childhood superhero, isn't he? We've grown up watching him swing his way into our hearts, and it doesn't matter whether it was the cartoon, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or even Tom Holland for all you Gen Z kids. The fact remains he's Marvel's most precious treasure. So when Kingpin straight up killed Peter Parker in the first Spider-Verse movie, you can imagine how badly it affected everyone in the cinema halls. Like, come on bro, wasn't saving lives the point of your whole plan? On top of that, Miles Morales had to just sit there and watch the entire thing unfold in front of his eyes. That's way too much to take in your first superhero outing, ain't it? The sudden and brutal nature of Kingpin's attacks was what really sold the scene to me. At first, I was obviously upset with the filmmakers for doing that, but later I realised just how impactful that moment was.
There are thousands of men on those ships, good, honest, innocent men. They're just following orders.
I've been at the mercy of men just following orders. Never again.
You know, for a guy as smart as Charles Xavier, I really don't think he made the right choice by telling a Holocaust survivor that the soldiers are just following orders. Like, bro, did you forget shedding tears when you read Magneto's mind and saw all those traumatic memories? Anyway, the focus here is on the badass nature of Eric's performance. And I've got to say, Michael Fassbender won the world over with this scene. It was kind of cool to see both Professor X and Magneto being able to sense the incoming attack in their own separate ways. I've been at the mercy of men just following orders, never again. Not only is that an iconic line in its own right, Eric also turns the tables by having the men at his mercy now. I also want to point out that Magneto's not devoid of humanity either. Despite Eric's cold, relentless wrath and him totally being at odds with Charles ideologically, the one thing that distracted him from his vengeance was the realization that he'd hurt perhaps his only true friend.
I'll be back.
Mr. Schwarzenegger is no stranger to my list, and he finds himself in at number 2 this time. Arnold's most iconic role may well be that of the T-800, because the Terminator was a pop culture phenomenon that took over the world during the 80s. When I was reading up on audience reactions to the cop shootout scene, I learned that the entire audience was dead silent as it unfolded. This sequence, more than anything else, truly illustrated how utterly unstoppable the Terminator was. Imagine being in a police station, surrounded by dozens of officers with guns and automatic weapons, and you're still not safe, because nothing will stop the Terminator until you're dead. Nothing. Pre-2000s, James Cameron will always be a cinematic genius. Also, spare a thought for the Terminator here. Just look at the lengths he's willing to go to just to save his friend Sarah Connor. It's truly heartwarming. It doesn't matter if it's Volume 2 or Volume 3. Heath Ledger's Joker will always reign supreme. Imagine being so good at playing the villain that people forget it's supposed to be a Batman movie? Yeah, that was the sentiment going around when Dark Knight released in 2008 and changed cinema forever. There are so many reasons to love Christopher Nolan's rendition of the Joker, and for this entry, I'm going to talk about the moment when he taunts Batman to come and hit him. No, it's not because he likes the pain or whatever the TikTok kids would want to say. It's because he wants to bring out the darkness that resides within Gotham's brightest star. Bro literally pushed freaking Batman to his limits when it came to breaking his own code, and oh boy, was it a treat to watch. You can hire as many actors as you want to try and replace the character. Make no mistake, there's only one Joker out there who revolutionized the concept of supervillains, and he goes by the name of Heath freaking Ledger. Rest in peace, man. You'll always be legendary.
He missed!
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Region, and here's another video that I know you're going to enjoy.